Hello, I'm Laura Richcreek with Laura's Voice. Welcome to Laura Reads Foxed Books. This week's chapter is a good example of how our perspective on animals, and pets specifically, has evolved to be more compassionate. You'll see what I mean as we get into Chapter 7, A Love Souvenir. Chapter 7, A Love Souvenir. Nancy left town early one season. Friends were going to White Sulphur about the 1st of May, and she decided to go with them. An inflammatory youth from Old Virginia was also moved to seek rural shades in the May time. No man of discretion should recklessly expose himself to the influence of springtime, sylvan rambles, and pretty girls. The combination would have been too strong for Zeno. Even a Vermont man would be in danger of attack from the sentiment microbe under such conditions. And as for the Virginian, well, his fate was a foregone conclusion. The time was May, the place was White Sulphur, and the loved one was Nancy. If it hadn't been Nancy, it would have been some other girl. Given the time and place, the loved one is a minor detail. That philosophical fact being accepted, the amorous Virginian should be glad that the fates filled out his unities so harmoniously, and that he had so good a run for his money. But at last reports, this soothing feature of the situation didn't appeal to him, and Nancy considered him distinctly ungrateful. Personally, the young woman doesn't approve of Virginian methods. They are so uncomfortably sudden, she sadly says. And of course, when a summer flirtation begins with May, one can't reasonably expect it to wear throughout the whole season. But there's no use in reckless extravagance and in doing the thing up in 4 weeks. They do these things better at Bar Harbor. The young Virginian isn't really the hero of this tale, but his springtime susceptibility brought about the events, and his Danish Mastiff did the rest. The dog entered upon the scene of action at Richmond, where the Virginian made his acquaintance upon the station platform. The Mastiff was an overgrown and vicious-looking pup who was stirring things up for the baggage agent and the dog fancier who had come to get him. The young Virginian, whose pockets are well lined, and who knows a thing or two about dogs, interfered. And the obstreperous pup, whose name was Rex, recognized a congenial spirit and took to the stranger in a way that won his heart. The young man turned to board his train. The pup was determined to go with him, and once more there was war upon the station platform. The traveler, being in a melting and butter-hearted mood, attributable to the season, was touched by his conquest of canine affection, listened to his pedigree, which was as long as a country parson's sermon, and offered the perspiring and irate dog fancier $150 for the dog. The offer was promptly accepted, and in 5 minutes the traveler had resumed his journey to White Sulphur with an affectionate but rather freakish companion. As Nancy often remarks, "These southern men are so impulsive." 2 days later, Rex and his master met Nancy. That was the beginning of the end. The master approved of the young woman, the dog tolerated her, and Nancy adored the dog. A dog is a useful third party in affairs of this kind. He affords an opportunity for a display of guileless and ardent affection that is an effectual promoter. Nancy had known men and dogs before. The three strolled together, sought secluded nooks together, bayed at the moon together. Rex had to be sternly repressed at frequent intervals, but he was devoted to his master, who had clinched his devotion with a wholesome fear by several sound and thorough thrashings after acts of disobedience. So the dog stuck to heel and passed chickens, cats, cows, children, and other dogs with no greater evidence of emotion than a furtive wriggle. Moreover, he sat like a tranquil lamb with Nancy's arm around his neck, and only rolled his eyes pathetically at his master in pained protest. There are things no fellow should ask a dog to do. So things went on for 4 weeks. Then something happened. Rex wasn't responsible because he wasn't along, but there was a full moon and a rustic seat, and Nancy went to her room at 11 o'clock and cried so violently that she couldn't go down to breakfast the next morning. The only satisfaction her alleged chaperone could get out of her was the statement, between sobs, that men were horrid, hateful, unkind, unreasonable things. But a chaperone of experience can figure out a good deal from that. In the morning, a note was handed to Nancy. She cried some more. "I am going on the midnight train," wrote the inflammatory Virginian. "You have spoiled my life for me, but it is a satisfaction to think that the process afforded you amusement for 4 weeks. I am leaving Rex for you. You seem to care for the dog. Perhaps that was a mere seeming, too. But I could not bear to look at the brute again because he is associated with you."
"Nasty temper these Southern men have," said Nancy, wiping her eyes. "I'd hate to marry one of them. Now, a Northern man would have said it was all his fault, and that he should never have dared to dream that I could love him, and that I would be a sacred memory, and all that sort of thing. Don't talk to me about Southern chivalry. Give me Bar Harbor."
"What are you going to do with the dog?" asked the chaperone practically.
"Oh, he'll be all right,"
the girl said carelessly.
"Poor fellow,"
she added ambiguously, dabbing cologne water on her eyes and sighing deeply. "It looks to me," said the experienced and suspicious chaperone, "as if that broken-hearted and guileless young lover were in a fair way toward getting even. Nancy's income isn't large at best, and hotel expenses had been playing havoc with a bank account already depleted by organdy frocks, picture hats, and other ammunition. But after the passing of the Virginian, the financial situation became tragic. An active, voracious, and bad-tempered mastiff at a swell hotel is a proposition that calls for gold. Yea, for much fine gold. Nancy found that out the morning after the storm when, with suspiciously pink eyelids, she strolled down to the stables to look at her dog. She had some idea of sitting down beside the great, clumsy, forsaken brute, and putting her arms around his neck and dropping a tear upon his faithful head, for remembrance' sake. The sentiment appealed to her, and her artistic soul suggested that she and the dog would make rather a fetching tableau. It seemed a pity that the stablemen would be the only spectators, but a genuine artist loves art for art's sake. Still, when the young woman discovered the German baron waiting in the stable door for a mount, she couldn't help feeling that Providence was kind. Unluckily, the program didn't turn out exactly as planned. Rex had no soul for art. The stableman had made him tired, and his master hadn't turned up, and when Nancy appeared and ordered him unchained, he promptly knocked her down and jumped on her in playful sport. When the baron and the riding master pulled him off, the radiant vision in organdy and pink roses looked sadly demoralized. That night Nancy sat down and did sums. Then she went to the office and changed her second-floor corner room for a small one on the 4th floor back. She was paying for a box stall in the stables. The hotel was charging her an absurd price for dog board. One of the grooms, for a liberal consideration, had agreed to look after the dog's general comfort. The cook, for $1 a week, would keep on preparing the menu that the Virginian had laid down for his dog, and Nancy's own waiter thought, under persuasion, that he could conscientiously promise to take 3 meals a day out to the box stall. The chaperone grinned, and Nancy's compassion for the lovelorn Virginian waned. But, as she said, one couldn't allow an innocent dog to die just because he came high. The groom, who knew a good deal about dogs, and spoke as one having authority, said that the pup must have exercise. So Rex was turned loose and promptly chewed holes in a valuable Italian greyhound belonging to a New York millionaire. Only Nancy's face prevented a suit for damages. After that, the dog's promenades were taken at the end of a chain, but he developed a violent dislike for the groom in charge and, in fact, for everyone on the premises, except his owner. She bent her shoulders to the burden and began taking him for his daily walk. There was infinite variety in the performance. Incidentally, there was tremendous entertainment for the other inmates of the hotel. Occasionally, a slim, pretty girl in a crisp gown walked calmly past the hotel veranda, leading a huge and tractable dog. More often, the morning quiet was shivered by a sound of scurrying, scampering, barking, scolding, protesting, and by the veranda swept a whirlwind of dust, in which might be vaguely seen an immense, straining, struggling mastiff dragging after him at chain length a breathless, red-faced, stormy-eyed young woman. The apparition shot down the driveway and vanished on the road, and there was a mighty chuckling on the veranda. At the end of a quarter-mile, Nancy usually dropped off of the chain, and her amiable love souvenir roamed at large through the country, while she followed in his wake, thinking desperately of her responsibility and of the rack and ruin that might be laid at her door. Rex wasn't really vicious, playful rather, but his idea of humorous sport didn't find favor in the community. He chased cats, chickens, children, horses, cows, with impartial zest. He caused one runaway after another, and on one occasion ran the luckless German baron into a swamp, where his horse stuck hard and fast. But dogs were his specialty. He was spoiling for a fight continually, and even an ignoble conquest had its charm for him. He would have welcomed a foeman worthy of his steel, but there wasn't a dog in the place who was more than half his size, so he had to get what amusement he could out of smaller fry. Most of the dogs at the hotel and cottages were of the lapdog variety, delicate little darlings who were too precious to be left at home by travelers. King Charles spaniels, cocker spaniels, skye terriers, all looked alike to Rex, and half the women in the hotel froze poor Nancy with gorgon glares and talked angrily about her in corners, while the men's resentment was tempered by sympathy.
"Why, oh why,"
wailed Nancy,
"hasn't someone on the premises a pet bulldog? Swells to burn and not a bulldog among them. It wouldn't happen once in 1,000 times."
"Indeed, miss, you'll have to have him shot," chorused the stableman and the hotel proprietor.
"If she had any sense of decency, she'd have the nasty brute shot," snapped the women.
"She'd better have him shot before he kills someone," said the men. Nancy, being a woman, wouldn't listen to the suggestion of violent and sudden death. Rex was fond of her in spite of his pranks, and women are soft-hearted. About brutes. "Why don't you send him away?" inquired kindly men.
"Where in the world would I send him? I board in the city," she groaned.
"Well, sell him. He's a fine fellow, but you could afford to take little or nothing for him."
"Sell him?" with desperate scorn. "Don't you suppose I've had every man in the stables trying to give him away? I'd pay anyone to accept him as a gift."
"Well, then, you'll have to have him shot." It always came back to that. The thing went on for 2 weeks. Nancy was becoming thin and hollow-eyed, and the harmony of the neighborhood was shattered into bits. Rex was finally and permanently shut in his box stall. One Sunday morning he escaped. Nancy, starting to church in a symphony of pearl and white, heard a scuttle, a growl, an agonized yelp. She dropped her prayer book and fled around the corner. There was Rex. There in his jaws was the shivering, hairless Mexican pet of a wealthy old dowager. There was the limp but frantic dowager. There were the cook, 3 waiters, 1 groom, and a crowd of minor satellites. The Mexican idol yelped. The dowager screamed. The men yelled. Nancy plunged into the fray and broke her pearl-colored parasol over her dog's head. He never noticed it.
"Save him! Save my darling!"
shrieked the dowager.
"Kill him! Kill the brute!"
moaned Nancy. An athletic young man in outing flannels hove in sight round the corner, removed his pipe from his mouth, and stared. Nancy looked at him through streaming eyes.
"Kill him!"
she implored tragically. He slipped the pipe into his pocket, gave one more appreciative glance to Nancy, and picked up a stick of firewood that lay beside the kitchen steps. A moment later, Rex lay stretched on the ground, stunned. The dowager, sobbing hysterically, gathered up the Mexican fragments. Nancy limply collapsed upon the curbstone. The young man stood beside her and watched the dowager with bewilderment in his eyes. "Why, I thought the little beast was yours," he said to the girl at his feet.
"No, the big beast was mine,"
she murmured feebly. "Oh, by Jove. No, I beg your pardon. I really didn't. You see, you said, 'Kill him,' and you looked at me, and—" She looked at him again.
"I'm afraid you didn't kill him," she said sadly.
Then she told him the story of her life since the arrival of the dog, suppressing various details whose omissions rather spoiled the story, but in which she couldn't expect the young man to be interested. He was most sympathetic. "Why, it's a shame. A deuced shame. What were all the men doing?" He raged in fine indignation. "See here, Miss...
Reynolds,"
supplied Nancy.
"Ah,
yes, thank you. See here, Miss Reynolds. Let me buy that dog." She dimpled at him in radiant gratitude.
"Oh, will you let me give him to you?"
she urged in the tone of one who sees a great light in darkness. He went to the office and sent this telegram to his partner. "Look out for dog by express. Turn him over to Smith's trainer." That afternoon, an express wagon rattled down the hotel drive, and a crowd watched its going. It was an immense crate, and from the crate floated back upon the wind the despairing howl of a vanquished and abused mastiff. From the edge of the woods, Nancy saw the wagon vanish over the hill. A moment later, the dog's new owner joined her. "Well, that's settled," he said comfortingly.
"You are so good."
The tone was dangerous. The glance was more dangerous.
"Where is your home?"
The question was irrelevant, but the champion of dames answered promptly. "New York."
"Ah,"
said Nancy.
"I'm so glad you aren't from Virginia."
End of Chapter 7. A Love Souvenir. You've heard the advice to never give pets as Christmas presents. Let's add nor as love souvenirs to that. I think today's chapter calls for some extra love for your cat or dog or hermit crab or fish or horse or goat. Love 'em all and love 'em lots. And while you're loving 'em, catch a little enrichment in the accompanying video, scheduled to go public at 4:20. This has been The Misdemeanors of Nancy by Eleanor Hoyt, illustrated by Penryn Stanlaws. Original copyright 1902. This work is in the public domain. Production copyright 2025 by Laura E. Richcreek. Thanks for listening. See you in the next video.